Imagine a cozy cafe. Everything's dark oak wood and inviting. It smells of freshly baked cinnamon rolls and freshly brewed coffee. There are books on display and a cat sleeping soundly on the counter. The place is filled with peace and calm, and there are people enjoying their drinks while reading or writing. There are no computers or phones to be seen. It's as if time has stopped and there's nowhere to rush. In another room, there's a group of people engaged in a quiet conversation, making new connections and learning new things. It's a friendly atmosphere of a tight-knit community that welcomes anyone new. The entire space is filled with magic. Magic that comes from books, chocolate, and mysterious liquid bakes. But also from friendship, good conversation, and the cats who always keep you company and deliver exactly what you need. Welcome back to the Cat Coach Cafe. Me and the cat coaches, Aragorn, Apricot, and Prince, are thrilled to see you back. This is a cozy space where we meet once a month to slow down, tune to the season, revive some old seasonal traditions, sometimes influenced by magic origins, and meet people from all walks of life who all share one love, their love for cats. Today's episode is all about renewal, about new beginnings, starting fresh, and letting go of what is no longer needed. For spring, it's finally here. We'll talk about Spring Equinox, Dead Sunday, as well as Bloom Sunday, and all the ways you can let this time of year inspire you. Our today's guest, my dear friend, logo designer Ian Paget, also known as the Logo Geek, will share not only some fascinating ways of how you can use a cat in a logo and the design process itself, but also what he learned from his cat about living well and about life-work balance. He will hopefully inspire you to introduce some new ways into your life this season too, and encourage you if you're about to set on a journey of building your dream life. And of course, your cat coach Aragorn will share some of his seasonal wisdom as well. So lots of goodness in store for you, as always. But before we get to it, let us fully ease into the present moment with our short drink meditation. You know the drill by now. Get cozy, grab that hot drink of yours, and curl up next to your cat, ideally. This time is for you. No multitasking needed. Just quiet your mind and let's start. Take your drink and close your eyes. Hug your mug with the palms of your hands. Feel its warmth. Is it too hot, maybe? Or is it pleasantly warm? Notice the warmth travel through your body, from your palms to your arms, all the way to your soul. Feel it. Feel the warmth. Now, take the mug and bring it closer to your lips, but do not drink just yet. Just inhale the scent of your drink deeply. Let it fill you with the wonder and magic of the faraway lands the ingredients come from. Or perhaps images of your very own garden, if that's where your tea comes from. What images do come to your mind when you smell your drink? Notice them. Let your imagination run wild. Take another deep inhale, taking in all the scent your drink has to offer. Let it fill you with peace and warmth. And then hold your breath at the peak of your inhale, just for a few seconds. And then exhale. Now, with your eyes still closed, take a sip. Notice the taste. Let it wash over your whole being. How does it make you feel? Take another sip and do the same. Beautiful. You are ready to open your eyes. Welcome to March, the month that finally sees the arrival of spring, and my birthday month as well. And with that, a time for new beginnings, a time for renewal, a time for letting go of everything dark, cold, and lifeless. Yet, March is characterized by changeable weather when winter does not yet want to give up its rule, but spring is slowly winning over it. So I find it also a great reminder of the rocky new beginnings, the challenge of introducing something new into our lives when we are both pulled back to our old ways, just as we are set on the new ways. Because no new beginnings are smooth. The winter will always try to stay, but the spring must and will win over in the end. It's a great time to observe the changes taking place in nature, and with so much growth and creativity surrounding us, it is no surprise we feel a rush of the same energies. But before we get a little more into that, we are invited to do some deep cleaning. Because in order for something beautiful, pure, and new to be born, something else, old and dark, must die. Spring is a beautiful reminder of that, with black branches and brown rotting leaves suddenly changing into bursts of green leaves. The first blooms appear as well, and among them the humble daisy, bringing joy to our hearts. I love to make tea from fresh daisies at this time of year. It's the first fresh herbal tea I make, and a great start at that. Drinking tea from fresh daisies literally makes me feel like I'm flourishing inside and somehow being cleansed, which is actually not far from the truth, as daisies are known to purify blood. From the perspective of Chinese medicine, March is the time to support and strengthen our gallbladder as well as livers, and daisies help us with just that. All you need is 1 tablespoon of fresh daisies and a cup of hot water and 10 to 15 minutes of your time to have your magical spring drink ready. Going back to the theme of deep cleaning, March is a time to banish winter, cleaning out all the evil accumulated during the winter time, including all negative energy. So, what darkness or evil have accumulated in your life over winter? What are you ready to let go of? In my case, I'm definitely letting go of some dark thoughts that have arisen in winter and been following me ever since, and which are not supporting me in any way. I've had it with them, so I am stepping into light now, shedding the darkness. On a more tangible level, what are the things in your home that no longer bring you joy? it's time to do the big spring cleaning. Take a big cardboard box and as you go along the month, put all that you no longer need into it, or all that does not bring you joy anymore. So come spring equinox, you can let go of it. You can, of course, do it in a more organized way as well, doing one room after another or one cupboard after another, or focus on what you know needs your attention or where you know you need more space. But if you can't dedicate a chunk of time to cleaning like that, just going along the month, noticing things that no longer bring you joy or are not really in use or useful, and putting them aside into that one box will do plenty of good. And then, once again, take that thought into your life. Where in your life do you need to make more space so you can welcome some new things? This episode will actually have quite a few journaling prompts like these because, after all, we are at the start of something new and there's so much to consider and think about and clear away. So, to make it easier for you, all the prompts you're going to hear throughout this episode will be put all together for you in the show notes so you can come back to them when you want. Back in the days, farmers used to observe when birds would arrive from the wintering lands, when earthworms would appear in the soil where the wind was blowing from, and which days were dry or rainy. They predicted the harvest or remembered when it was appropriate to start certain jobs. People knew that winter often came back at the beginning of March, a time that was called Gregorian winter, when a cold air stream from the north came to us. After Gregorian winter, however, spring would win over winter at last. Now it's time for some of our weather lore, which you came to love so much. So here are a few of those for March. March fogs, summer rains. How many times in March dew falls? So many frosts by Easter, and so many fogs come in the spring. The March sun has short arms. If in March the cuckoo crows and the stork flaps, we will see a warm summer. So be on the lookout for these signs so you can predict the year ahead. I can already say that we've had quite a few March fogs here, so we're probably gonna have a rainy summer, which I personally am not against at all. Apart from the cleaning we mentioned before, farmers would also use this time to prepare their tools for the season. So what are the things or skills or even mindset you're going to be needing in this new cycle? How can you get all that you need ready ahead of spring equinox? Where do you need to bring your attention? Have a think and plan. 3 weeks before Easter Sunday is also the perfect time to start baking some Easter cookies. Indeed, just like for Christmas, people used to bake cookies to celebrate spring as well. I have to say, I only discovered this a couple of years ago, and I haven't made the best use of it myself yet. But this year, I am determined to give it a go. The recipes could be very similar, only this time in shapes of symbols of spring, as opposed to the Christmas ones. Once again, bearing ritualistic qualities as well. The most traditional ones suitable for Easter would be the carrot cookies, Lindt cookies, and gingerbreads. I myself will definitely opt for the carrot ones this year, and I'll see about the rest. Now, let's hear from our cat coach, Aragorn, and listen to his season-appropriate wisdom. Hello, my lovely humans. This is your cat coach, Aragorn. And I have something to share. Since the sun began to get up earlier and stay around for longer, I've been noticing an increased energy and more things taking my interest. It's as if everything was all new, as if life was starting off fresh. Sadly, that can't be said about the food I've been served. For some reason, I keep getting the same boring stuff over and over again. Didn't they hear it's time for new beginnings? Hello? How about we begin with new food? But anyway, that's besides the point right now. Although it is, and it isn't, because this new season should be all about coming up with new ideas and finding what makes you purr. And the food I'm getting is neither new or makes me purr. In fact, I've been shedding some weight because of it being scandalously unsatisfying. But anyway, nothing I couldn't handle. But basically, my point is, life feels better when there's something new in your bowl, figuratively as well as literally, or something that you truly enjoy. And now is the perfect time for that. Where there is no joy, there is no purring. As easy as that. So, your task, my dear humans, is to find the things that make you purr. Of course, I do realize it's not physiologically possible. There is a reason why only us cats have this mighty skill. But just stop spending so much time on the things that make you growl rather than purr, and focus on those that bring you the otherworldly sense of contentment that would make you purr if only you could. And if you don't know what they are, it's time to find out, because life without purring wildly is not really worth living. I, for one, tried to play with a toy mouse this morning, for example, and I can positively tell that it is not one of those things for me. But I shall keep my mind open and keep exploring, and leave the mouse fun to Apricot. If you'd like to read more Cat Coach diaries, you can find them on my Substack at moniforce.substack.com, where there is over 50 diary entries by now. Today, I'm so happy to welcome inside the Cat Coach Cafe my dear friend, Ian Paget, also known as the Logo Geek. Ian and I go way back. We've known each other for incredible 18 years or something crazy like that when my sister introduced us, and he easily became a member of our family for the duration of their relationship. After that, we remained close friends and considered each other family ever since, and have been supporting each other as well. As the Logo Geek name suggests, Ian is an established and incredibly gifted logo designer who has, by the way, created the cat in the Cat Coach Cafe and the Cat Coach Diaries logo as well. We talked about his love for cats and how his cat Scarlett inspired his life, and how a more catful approach to his work life made all the difference. We discussed the many ways you can use cats in your company logos, even if you think there isn't a way really. And of course, the fascinating logo design process itself. Finally, Ian shares his journey of writing his first book, which is a great source of inspiration for anyone who wants to build a business to support the kind of life they want, aka a life lived with more catitude, which is actually where our conversation starts. At the beginning, there was a cat.
When I was very young, we had so we didn't have any pets ourselves apart from I think we had like rabbits and guinea pigs, which
Really?
doesn't they yeah they don't really live that long. Um, but our neighbors did have cats, and just behind our house there were these two black cats. That was pretty much an important part of my childhood growing up because these two black cats, Sooty and Sweep, they would always come into our garden as children. So yeah, I used to be outside like so often in the garden, literally spending time with these cats, and they were very much the type that just kind of sat there and liked having attention. Like they were very friendly, nice cats. And it was really sad when City, the main one that used to come over, passed away. Like that was genuinely really sad. So that was one thing that, sort of made me love cats. And the
I've
cat I
known
have
you
now,
I've known you for 15 years and I never
and
heard this story.
I don't think I've ever told you. But
Spring.
yes, you know me for my cat now, Scarlett. And interestingly, sort of as I grew up, I didn't actually want a pet, you know? I didn't really like the idea of having like a cat or a dog or anything like that. But it was when visiting yourself. There was a period of time where we went to visit you, and you had these three cats in the house, and it was really nice to spend time with animals because you have quite a small flat. So, there was quite a few of us in there over the Christmas period or whenever it was. But it was just genuinely really lovely to spend time with these three cats that each had their own distinct personality. And I remember coming back and speaking to your sister, my an ex-partner of mine, and we both started to talk about how it would be really nice to get a cat. And I remember I went on a work trip. So I went away for like 3 days or something like that. And I came back and I like opened up the door, and your sister was there looking at me with like this look on her face. And it was like, What have you done?" And I could hear in the flat this very high pitch meow. And I'm like, is that on the TV? And yeah, I walked in, and at the very far back of the room, hidden underneath the sofa, was this tiny little kitten, Scarlet.
Oh.
Just really, really, really cute and absolutely terrified with this little high pitch meow. But it was so nice spending time with this cat, like playing with it. And I think the thing that really made me fall in love um uh with Scarlett was at night time. We're kind of laying down in bed, and she is jumping everywhere, all over us, like literally bouncing around on us as we're moving around. And you'd wake up in the morning and like she's licking your ear. And what I started to do at nighttime, because it was nice to do. I used to pick her up and take her and like kind of hold her as I'm asleep, to the side of me. And I don't know what that did to her, but it basically trained her that that was her bed at nighttime. So every night for the past like 12, 13, 14 years, however long it's been, Scarlett literally sleeps in the bed with me, curled up next to me. She still does it now, every
Oh.
single night. And yeah, it's really nice. And Scarlett's been I don't really see her like a cat anymore. I see her almost like a friend, or like a family member that I live with, because I can tell what she's thinking. I know what she's gonna do. I know what she wants. We got this we have our way of communicating with each other. Um and Yeah, she's kind of been there through the hard times, the good times. She's moved with me so many different places over the years. And yeah, I'm really thankful that your sister cheekily went out and got Scarlett without me knowing, because she really has been one of the best things in my life. And yeah, I can't believe how old she's getting. She is
I st
like 13 this year, I think.
Yeah, I think so, because our boys are 14. They're gonna be 14 in May, so it must be she should be like half a year only maybe like a half a year younger, actually,
Something like that.
because it didn't take long for my sister to get a cat after she got
She
to
did,
know
yeah, it was really
our
quick
cats.
because I thought we would like talk about it and go and pick one together, and then she just went out and got this cat. And
Because
you know what's funny? I don't think I ever said, because I don't want to like concern your sister at the time, but you know, I said about these two black cats growing up in the garden, but there was these two other cats that were not the nicest cats. They would like they were, I think it's just because they were very anxious. They were much younger cats. Uh, they scratched me once, and I remember that. And it was a tabby cat. And I always thought if I was to ever get a cat, it wouldn't be a tabby cat. And I remember being a little bit disappointed that we ended up getting a tabby cat. But now it's like I couldn't imagine a better cat. Like she's really the best.
but then again, two of our
Cat.
boys were tabbies, so our
They
girl and
were,
Prince.
and they
They
were
never
both
scratched
really
you.
lovely as well. But it's funny.
But it's
Um,
funny because I remember that still as well when you left for that work trip and my sister called us and she's like, I'm gonna get a kitten and Ian doesn't know about it and I'm gonna surprise it. Because back then, there was another issue that you were slightly allergic to cats, right?
Yeah, I
Even
was. Yeah. So what I
so,
remember when I went to visit you, you because you had the three cats, I had to take antihistamines every day
yeah.
just to stay in the house, stay in the flat. But I don't get an allergic reaction with Scarlett at
Mm.
all. I don't know if it's because I got used to it or just because of the volume of cats in the building. I think it's probably the volume of cats, but yeah, I really struggled every time I went to go and see you with the three cats. I would have to take antihistamines.
But actually, from what I remember, then later, after you lived with Scarlett, you didn't need them anymore. So I think you just your body adapted. So
Yeah, possibly.
that's a
Or it could
really
have, I mean, it could have been something else that I had an allergic reaction to.
I don't think so.
But
I think it
some,
was the cats, but I think you really got used to it by living with your own cat, which
yeah,
is really
possibly.
encouraging for everybody who's listening that it really is possible to get over your allergy to
And
cats.
plus, I mean, to be honest, like I said before, the time when you had the three cats, I genuinely didn't want a pet. And I remember thinking, you know, when friends and family used to get so upset about a pet dying, I was like, it's only a pet, come on. But now it's different because it's almost like Scarlett's more important now than a person because she really is the closest. I mean, apart from like Evie, my daughter, she really is like the closest living thing to me. Like
Yeah,
she's literally been there every single day. Um,
yeah,
and I know if anything happens to, I am going to be genuinely not okay.
devastated.
Because
Yeah.
yeah, and
I'm
she's still
trying to
very
enjoy.
healthy. She's
Yeah.
a very healthy, happy cat.
And she still looks like a kitten. I've seen her
She
after
literally
like
looks exactly the same.
yeah, like I've seen her after what, 10 years? We haven't seen each other and she looks the same to me. Like,
She really does. Like when
yeah,
I find old photos, she still looks exactly the
yeah,
same.
yeah,
And there are times when I look at her and she looks the same as she did when she was a kitten.
yeah, she
Um,
does.
and she's able to spend time outside now. Because when we first got her, she was an indoor cat because we lived in a flat back then. But now I live in a house with like a garden out the back. And although I'm concerned to let her go too out too much, like I don't like the idea of maybe her walking off and not knowing the way back or getting
Yeah,
hit
of
by a
course. Yeah,
car because there's some
yeah.
main roads here. But if we're out in the garden, I will let her go out there and she doesn't jump over the fence or anything. She's really chill. She'll just go down at the end of the garden and just sit there in the sun when it's nice.
That's actually
Yeah.
another funny story because I went to visit you last summer, and that was the first time Scarlett escaped to the
Yes.
garden because we went out and the door to the garden was closed, wasn't properly closed. And we go home and we got really scared that Scarlett wasn't anywhere and the door was
Oh,
open.
was that when you was here?
Yeah. And then we just found her happily sleeping in the garden in the shadow there, just like, what's happening? I'm just happily here.
I was genuinely really concerned because we
Yeah.
went out for the entire day
Yeah.
and my back door was left open the entire time. I don't know what happened. I mean, this happens sometimes. Like if you don't physically lock it and it's not latched in properly, you think it's closed, but then it will just, it needs enough of a push from a cat to make it open. And yeah, she was just chilling at the end of the garden in the sun. I was so lucky she could have walked off or
Yeah.
the house could have been broken into or whatever. But yeah, it was she really likes it at the end of the garden.
I'm so
She
glad
was
that I
just
was,
happy sitting
yeah.
there chilling.
I was just so happy to see her out there because she looks so happy, I
She
remember.
really
So
did, like genuinely really happy,
yeah,
just chilled out.
yeah.
And there is another cat next door,
Mm.
who they like friends,
Okay.
frenemies. So she's got a frenemy next door. I think her name's Kira.
Do
Kira
they
Black.
fight at all?
Well, usually they have these staring matches at the
Oh,
window. So Scarlett's like, kind of chirping at the window. You can tell that something's going on. And then you
that's
look out and you
funny.
realize why, because there is this other cat just sat there staring. Um, there hasn't been any fighting, but when they are like when the other cat is on the fence or something, because Scarlett's changes. She suddenly
Yeah.
becomes this predator.
It's funny. I remember we used to call her when she was a kitten, like what would we call her? Like the mad fly catcher or something like that. She was really good at catching
She
flies.
still is.
She still
She
is.
still is. Well, yeah, because I find it funny because it's easy to forget that cats are wild animals and they are essentially pretty much the same as like lions, tigers,
Yeah.
fierce beasts that would kill us if we got near one. And when we spend time with them on their own, uh, Scarlett is like the type she would just snuggle up on your lap and purr and want strokes and stuff like that. But the moment there's a fly, you can tell that that is a fierce predator. She can literally jump up in the air, catch it in her claw, and then she will eat it.
It's incredible. My cats just stare at it and do absolutely nothing. And if anything, they look at us like, will you catch it? It's
Scarlet
annoying.
would Scarlet would break everything in the house to get that fly.
It's
Like
amazing.
chop on things, jump on things, knock things down. Sometimes you might hear in the kitchen like a smash, like Scarlet, and then you realize she's trying to get a fly. Um,
It's funny.
it is
And,
funny.
so what would you say? Is there any way in which Scarlett inspired you? Like any lessons you took from her?
Um, there's no, I wouldn't say that the lessons came from her directly, but they are things that I noticed um, that I should do and
Okay.
do as much as I can. So I'm going to share those things. Um, I think one of the main things that you will also agree, having known me well, is something that a cat will do is when they trust you and they like you and they know you, they will come up to you and want strokes and want cuddles and so on. When they don't trust you, they will hiss or um, even if they know you, like you and trust you, once they've had enough, they're like, "Yeah, I'm done with that," and then just go off and hide somewhere and kind of just chill out and do what they want. Um, I think that's a really good example of like setting firm boundaries without having to explain yourself. And
Mhm.
I think I do this more now. I should have done this more throughout my life. But I think that's something that cats do unconditionally without even thinking about it. Like when they've had enough, there's no explaining, no like, oh, I'm really sorry, I need to leave right now, and I'm sorry I've upset you or whatever. They just leave, go and hide somewhere. They're like, I don't care, I'm happy here now. I don't need you.
And I still love you.
I
Don't take it personally, you know.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
just
I still
like,
you love you. Yeah, don't take it personally. It's just this is my boundary. I've
yeah,
had enough of that. Now I want to go and do my own thing. I think this is something that humans should do more of. I think we can be too apologetic or too concerned about how other people might feel in those scenarios. But the cat really doesn't care. It will just go and hide. And I
yeah,
think also as well, you know, when you know somebody and you like them, cats are very loyal. Like they are always there for you once you gain that trust, and it doesn't matter what's said or what's done. Um, like Scarlett will always come back. Like it doesn't matter. Like say if Scarlett's knocked something down and I've shouted at her, whatever, she will still come back and like sit on my lap. And I think this is a really nice thing as well that I think
I
people
mean,
should
she
do
didn't
more
even
for
escape when she could, right? In the garden.
it. Yeah. There's that cats are unconditionally loyal to people that are
They
nice to
trust.
them.
Yeah.
And I think this is something again that people should do. I can't think of a particular example in my life where I might have done that, but I think it's something that as a humans can learn from them. Um, I think another thing that I do more of now, so again, you will know this having known me, is that I have always been, I'm not so much now, but always like, I don't like wasting time. Like if there's time to do some work, I will do it in that time. And kind of keep going and going and keep doing all these things and chasing, I don't know what, chasing success, whatever that thing, meaningless thing was that I was chasing. But something that cats are is um, cats sleep a lot and rest a lot, and it's easy to think of it as being lazy, but they're not lazy, are they? They are recovering and recharging and doing what their body needs.
Yeah.
And this is something over the past few years because I mean I've got a 6-year-old daughter, and I'm self-employed, and it's so easy to be on the grind all the time, like just constantly working and chasing. But something I do now is like in the morning, and I have the freedom to do this, and I understand that not everyone does, but if I am really tired in the morning and I feel like I need more sleep, I will have more sleep because I know I can get the work done still. And
And probably quicker, right? Because you're rested
well,
and
yeah, I get it
rejuvenated.
done. Yeah, and also I find because most of what I do is logo design or sort of graphic design, sometimes when I'm resting, I'm uh processing the project in a different way and kind of
Hmm.
solving it. So when I do have the time to sit down and work, because I'm not having to force the ideas, I actually get the work done a lot quicker because I've spent that time sort of chilling. But then also sometimes when I sit down and I do work, again, if I get to that point and I understand not everyone has this opportunity, but if I am feeling really tired, exhausted, and like I really don't feel like doing this right now, rather than chase it and push through it, which I always have done previously, I am like, I'm just gonna go downstairs and sit on the sofa and like watch TV or something for a bit instead of trying to force myself through it. And that's something that cats do is they're not lazy. It's not being lazy. They're just giving what your body needs. And I
Mm.
think people need to do more of that. And like I said, I just want to stress, I know not everyone has the opportunity that I do. Like I am really lucky that I've built a life myself where I have the possibility of doing that. And I still get the work done and I still, make enough money to make a living what I'm doing, but I'm just much more, um, I don't really like the idea of work-life balance, but I guess balanced is the better word, and I'm more relaxed and Um, you would know from knowing me, I'm a lot calmer and
You're like totally
don't get
zen.
stressed anymore.
You're like the most zen
Yeah.
person I know.
Yeah, I'm very zen now, and I think it is because I've embraced being a cat and I sleep a lot.
That's great. But it's funny when you mentioned that when you lie down and rest, you actually think about the project in a different way and different ideas come to you.
I
Like
do. I do. Like
it's
I've literally designed entire projects in my head, and um it's difficult because usually when I do work, I've at my desk here I've got like a sketchbook, so I always start with a sketchbook, and I'm trying to think of ideas. Sometimes I just run out of ideas, and I kind of go with the least bad option. So I just pick something like that will do. But it's really interesting that just lay down in bed, I can literally do the same sketching and idea generation in my head and think it through without actually being sat down at my desk. And it's good doing that because once I start doing it, I'm doing that figuring out while I'm walking around the room. So it kind of feels like I'm wasting time or procrastinating, but actually it's um I heard there was a term actually for it actually. I saw a clip recently from Neil deGrasse Tyson where he spoke about how um you know how people often leave things to the last minute and they like cram all their work into like an hour.
yeah.
It's because a lot of people are through procrastinating, they are doing the work in their head still, like they're still thinking about it and processing it. It's not that they're wasting time, but there is a scientific term for this. And whatever that term is, I can't remember what it is, unfortunately. But I do figure out projects in my head. So when it comes to actually doing the work, I don't actually need to be sat down for that long to like put the design together and put the presentation together. And I think it's because rather than trying to force out ideas and force myself to be awake, I've processed it well, either sleeping, resting, or like having a shower or washing up or doing things around the house and worked in that way.
Yeah, it's exactly the same when I started to looking into writing and being the best writer. One of the things that came coming up from the teachers I listened to was that we often feel like when we're not sat down by the desk and writing, we're not doing anything. But
Mm,
actually, like going for a walk is writing
mm,
because on the walk you will get the ideas and come up with new ideas, or it allows you in any possible way to think about your topic or make space to even
mm,
be creative. So it was so funny for me to discover, because I always felt like I'm procrastinating and I'm not doing anything, that actually like taking a walk is part of the writing process as much as
mm,
writing itself. And I want to get back to the resting bit still, because that's what Aragorn does for me, is that whenever I'm sat by the desk for too long, he would call me for cuddles. And I always need to lie down to bed with him for the
mm,
cuddles. And so often I would be like stuck on ideas for example, the new Cat Coach Diaries. And I lie down with him, we cuddle, and suddenly I get like the best idea, which
mm,
is so obvious or comes from literally his look or something. But basically, it is from the resting state,
mm,
that he pushes me to, where I come up with new ideas for writing or new ideas, new solutions to some problems I'm dealing with. So
mm.
so yeah, so I literally am lucky that I have my coach next to me who tells me when it's time to lie down. So yeah, it's
I think we're
really,
saying embrace the sleep.
yeah, exactly. Or not sleep, but
if
rest.
your
Definitely rest.
body needs it, rest. Because really, I've um Like as soon as I started working for myself, I thought I would work the same pattern that I did when working full time. And since I've adjusted to working when I feel like it, it's I get the work done so quickly, and it is because I processed it while resting,
Yeah.
which yeah, it's fascinating, really.
Which gets us to your actual work. So
Sure.
you are a logo designer, and
Yes.
so I first of all we will get to the fun parts about cats and logos and all that stuff. But before we get to it, um, what is the logo design process like for you? Like, how do you get from client's brief to creating an actual logo that embodies that
Sure.
brief?
Sure. Okay. As you rightfully said, I now primarily focus on logo design, and people online know me as Logo Geek. So I work with so many different types of clients, but there's a process that I always follow, and I describe it as a goal-based design process. So it's really easy to look at a logo like it is a piece of art. But it really is a strategic tool for companies. So I work with a goal-based design process, which I describe as like a strategic process. So how this looks is when first working with a client, there's three areas that I focus on understanding with them. So who they are as a business and what makes them different, who they are competing with, and that's so that I can make sure that they differentiate from who they're competing with, and who they're wanting to target. These three areas, how I understand that, I do it with a questionnaire, so it's basically asking questions to understand all of that. And then in addition to that, at the same time, I try and understand any expectations or any requirements that people have, because usually, if if somebody's been running a business for uh sort of 10, 20 years, which is often the case, they have ideas and they've been thinking about them for a long time. And I think it's only fair to try and understand what that is. And if I can find a way to make that work within the strategic side of things as well, I will work on that for them. So that's kind of step one, is creating these goals. And that's, I kind of do it like a bullet pointed tick list, so that we can reference back to that throughout the entire process. And then what I do is I always start in a sketchbook. So what I'm trying to do when working in a sketchbook is find what I feel is the most appropriate solution based on those goals. And often what I try to do is um, there's usually kind of like a look and feel that I'm going for. And it's a case of kind of exploring things to try and kind of find that, but also to have like an interesting idea that could be distinct and memorable. Because ideally, when creating a logo, its primary purpose is identification. So I want to create something that's new, different, distinct, memorable, timeless, and so on. So it really is a case of just lots of exploration. And that's why when I spoke about this, like sleeping, it I can be doing this process at the same time. And then what I do is I take the best of those ideas into my computer, and I start to put them together. I generally find that's one of the easiest parts, because it's always finding the idea and finding what the right look and feel would be. That's the hardest part. After that is a case of just putting it together in the best possible way. So uh, usually I'm basing it off my sketches, and then duplicating the work and further improving it, simplifying it down. Again, it can be often lots of experimentation just to try and get the right look and feel. I always like to start with typography because that usually determines the sort of feel that you want, like the personality that you're trying to get. And then if I'm creating like a symbol with it or something special within the typography to sort of go with it, I know that there's like a style
Mm.
because the typographies determine that. And then how I do it, uh, I start building a presentation because how I used to work, so like 3, 4 years ago or so now, I used to present to my clients like maybe 3 or 4 different logos. And slide one logo, and then like I might show it mocked up on some things, and then next logo, and I'll go through them one by one. But what I do now is and I think this is so much better. It takes more time, but it's just a much better way of doing it. I like to present a journey, and I like to show like the sketches that I've done. I like to explain why I've made certain choices and show some of the experimentation that I've done, and slowly build up to um, what I feel is the ideal solution.
You're basically saying a story of the logo you created, and because human brains are wired to stories, it works because you take the people on the journey. That's
Yeah,
so
yeah.
exciting.
I think it's a much nicer way of doing it, and you're slowly building up to
Yeah,
what the solution is.
you're
And then what I do
creating
is
the hero story, basically.
yeah, exactly. And then I'm gradually building up to that. And I think something that's really important. I don't like just to show the logo on its own, because nobody ever sees a logo like that, like just on
Mm.
white on a screen. They are literally all around you. Like if you was to look around your room right now without realizing it, there are literally hundreds of logos in your house, like just in front of me now. One, two, three. Without moving my eyes, I can see. I have books in front of me. I can see like 20 without looking around. Um, so it's important to show it in that way. So I use all these different websites to mock up all these different images to mock up how that logo is going to look. And you want to be versatile. So how does it look on a massive billboard? How does it look on like stationery, like business cards? How does it look on at the distance on somebody's clothing? How does it look on the side of a pen? How does it look on like an app icon? And I try and present it in that way. So um yeah, so like the presentation is one of the more important parts, because I think it's really important to bring people into what you built and uh tell a story and explain how you're trying to solve the problem, presenting everything in as much of a strategic way as possible, because it's so easy to look at logo design like it's art. And doing it in this way sort of brings them along and hopefully convinces them to say yes and the project's done. Often there's feedback. It is, yeah, I do often get feedback, and there are the rare scenarios where um, I haven't quite hit the mark, but generally telling the story and doing it in that way. I've had 2 projects this month where it's been signed off first time, and I think that's down to the approach I take.
So the part that fascinates me is that you get that questionnaire back from your clients, and
Hmm.
you translate that into some graphic form. Like you said, like you
Hmm.
try to express that feeling into the graphic form. Like that is fascinating to me. I have no idea how that works. Like, how do you decide for a specific symbol or specific color or font?
Okay.
Which also brings us to the cat topic, which is that
Yeah.
sometimes you can like on which occasions you can use cats in logos.
Yeah, sure. So I'll try and answer the 2 questions together. So it's an interesting one because I wrote a book a couple of years ago, and the chapter that I really struggled with and decided to remove was where I was trying to describe in detail how I'd took these goals and and translated that into a simple image. Because it's a lot of information. Like it's pages and pages and pages of content about their business, their backstory, mission, vision, lots of different things. And obviously my job is to translate that into something.
Which is probably
And
easy for you, right? It's automatic kind of, isn't it?
yeah, I mean, it's not always automatic, but I know what I'm looking for. I know what sort of look and feel and personality that fits with that thing.
Hmm.
Sometimes I'm not sure, but I will try and figure it out by creating like a mood board or something like that. But I'll explain like the what I believe is the theory behind it that makes the most sense and is the best way of explaining it. So there is this terminology in design called semiotics, which sounds like a fancy scientific word, but it's basically the study of signs and symbols. And um, what you can do is you can essentially work out the origins of why something is the way it is. So if say, and I think this is where we can bring in a cat conversation into this. Say if you was um a yoga company, or somebody that did yoga and you wanted to create an identity around it, what is the look and feel that you would want? You'd probably want something that's calming. You'd want something that maybe portrays flexibility and exercise in some way. And when you think about like the semiotics that I mentioned, what does calmness look like? What does calmness feel like? And I immediately start to paint a picture in my head. It's hard to know exactly where that's come from, but I think the best way to think of it is from my own experiences, from living life, from going through different things. So there's a picture that starts to come in my head of what calmness looks like. And one of those things is a cat. Like a cat is very calming. And also, they fit with the whole idea of flexibility. So you could, in that scenario, as a possibility, is create a whole identity where you're somehow using a cat in a calming, relaxing position, probably maybe stretching or something. And that could work for a yoga company as an example.
Which is so
Uh,
original because there's so many yoga companies that use the same symbol all over again. I feel like it's all the
yeah,
logos are
people
basically a
use the
variation.
poses and so on. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's because where a lot of designers or where a lot of people that own businesses think is that they should look like everyone else, but actually you should look like, well, nobody else. You should be
Mm.
the most original, distinct, most memorable person. Um, I'll explain another route as well. So say if you was a company selling jewelry and you wanted to look very expensive. So you know, um, you're somebody you bought all of this jewelry. You want to sell it at premium prices. So you want to create an identity and a logo that feels premium, feels like it's got this whole story to it. What you could do is look at again as a nice cat example is what is something that feels very sacred, very that's worshipped in some way. I start to think of Egyptian times, because in Egyptian times cats were considered like gods. They were really treated like they were sacred. They were literally worshipped, and they were mummified in the same way as the gods were, as people that was considered godlike then. And they are really cherished and worshipped, and the cats are in all the hieroglyphics and stuff like that. So what you could do, because we know because we're looking at the studies of signs and symbols and where this has come from, you could really go back where this feeling has originated. You can use that to your advantage. So what you
Mm,
can do is you could probably look at the styles of how cats were drawn during those times, and then maybe build a whole identity that's built around um like a cat god in some way and
mm,
build this really beautiful identity using Egyptian colors, using the cats in some way. Again, like the style of the typography, you want it to feel high end. And again, just need to figure out what, because typography is man made. Like typography isn't a natural thing. Humans have designed this. So there's like thousands of years of history where you can get this from. You can think of all the times when when a piece of typography has been associated with a high-end product. So there's usually like a look and feel that just feels high end. And everyone feels that because they've also associated that style of typography with it. So like a combination of like an Egyptian type cat with the same sort of coloring, the same sort of
mm.
styling, you can make something that feels really almost sacred and like it's been around for hundreds of years and it feels like it's got this whole story to it. And that's one way that you can, use cats. I'll throw a couple more examples your way. So cats are really interesting actually because, there's so many different ways that you can see them. Like they are cute, they are fun. They but then also they are like strong and reliable and independent, but they are also mysterious and elegant and there's like the lucky like the Japanese culture stuff that's lucky. There's so many different ways that you can um use all these references in some way and build an identity around it, and it's suitable for any age. You could
Mm.
create something for kids that's really fun and playful that's got cats in it. You can create something that's like an accounting firm that you want to feel very strong and independent, or you could create something that's um, like a cybersecurity company where you want to feel stealth and agile. You can build it around a cat. Um, like I've described lots of different ways, but there are almost endless possibilities of where you could include a cat in that way.
So basically, if you have a business and you're a cat lover, there is a way where you can use cat in your business. It's
Yeah,
just a matter of looking at it from the right angle.
yeah, I think the important thing, something that I really want to stress, I wouldn't just put a cat in your company logo just because you like cats. I think it's important to find a story behind it or find a meaning for it. So, like if you're like a design studio, you might be curious. So
Yeah.
you could design a curious cat, and that could be like a mascot for your business. Or if you are I've mentioned like the yoga brand, you could have a cat that's always kind of stretching, and that's like the identity for it. You could have jewelry, which I've already described. You could have something that feels spiritual as well. Like cats are quite mysterious. There's so many different ways of finding how you can um use a cat. It doesn't have to be in your logo, but it could be in your identity. It could be like a mascot for the company. But every cat's got a personality. My like Scarlett's quite cheeky, I would say. But I've seen cats that are very elegant and beautiful, and I've seen other cats that are a complete mess, very scruffy. I mean,
Yeah.
so I think there's a lot of personality that you can bring into it if you did want to introduce cat into your branding.
So how many cat logos have you personally created?
um, can we include like lions and
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Oh my God. I know I've done so there's a company that I've worked with in Northumberland where I built this whole identity for Northumberland. They've got this product called Northumberland uh T T50. like this 250-mile tour. When I first worked with him, um, his company was originally called like Be Outsourced, and he was using Land Rovers. So with this company, you could hire Land Rovers and sort of drive them around the United Kingdom. I used a lion within that because of the associations with England.
Mhm.
So this is another scenario. Like I've explained lots of different cats, but you could use lions in it. So I created a lion in there. So that's one that comes to mind. I worked on your one, the Moniva one, with the cat. Yeah, I've done two for you with cats in.
Yeah, Morena
Um,
Chocolat was the one for the chocolate shop we had, the family business that's unfortunately no
yeah,
longer
it's the one
running.
it's catching a butterfly.
Yeah,
We want something that feels high end but still approachable. Like it
yeah,
needs that personality. And
yeah,
because of the story of the chocolate shop,
yeah.
it made a lot of sense to leverage the cats in some way, just because that was a real key part of the story of where the shop was. So,
Just as a
it made a lot of
reminder for
sense.
our listeners, my cats were born in our chocolate shop. So
Well, there was four originally, wasn't there?
yeah,
But you literally found them
we
sort of
found we found their mother.
stray
Well,
cats. Yeah, a stray
actually,
cat had.
their mother actually came to the shop as a stray. And because we started feeding her and all, and she started living there, in a couple of months, she had her kittens, and
Mm.
the rest is history.
And
But
if
yeah,
that
but
didn't
they,
happen, we would never have got a cat, I don't think.
yeah, well,
I
yeah,
wouldn't have Scarlett. We wouldn't be having this conversation now.
yeah. But the cats basically grew up in a chocolate shop, in a chocolate a workshop, or what's the right English word for a small,
I think a
um,
workshop
yeah, in a chocolate
or a
workshop.
studio, a workshop or a studio.
Yeah. Maybe that's why Apricot keeps wanting to eat cocoa now, even though it's poisonous for him.
Oh
He's
my
crazy
God.
for it.
Cats being cats.
Yeah. So then and then you also created the Cat Coach Diaries and the Cat Coach Cafe podcast. Well, not the logo itself, but the cat character.
Yeah, I
So
remember I think we did the cat originally as part of Moniva because
yeah,
like I said, what I usually do is lots of different designs when working on something. And I remember you felt that that would be suitable for the Cat Coach Diaries.
yeah,
So
because
yeah,
that
that was
one
another
felt
one I
more
worked on.
because that one felt more cheeky, as you just said,
Yeah,
and
it
I
is. It's more cheeky and more friendly because I tried to do when I worked on that project, there was a few different kind of styles and personalities that I put together so that you had choice. And for the Moniva brand, it made more sense to have something that felt more sort of
elegant.
premium, yeah, more elegant but
Yeah,
approachable.
yeah,
And for the Catch Coach Diary, something more friendly,
yeah,
friendly, a bit quirky.
yeah, exactly. Just for the record, I remember when I received the logo, the Maniva logo, the one that we essentially used. Uh, I was like, I couldn't believe how perfectly you you brought my ideas to life in a logo. Like I felt like it really is everything I wanted it to be. So
That's nice to hear. It's nice when you get it right and
yeah.
people love it. But yeah, I've been doing this a long time now. It really has been like more than half my life, like over 20 years as a designer, which is really scary. So there's just stuff that I do second nature without really thinking.
Yeah.
But it's nice to know how impactful it is. 'Cause I don't really see it unless people say I don't know. I just do work and then put it out there and it's out there in the ether.
What is the hardest thing about being a logo designer?
The hardest thing. Um, I think something that I find a challenge, and it doesn't matter how much advice I get, because I've been doing this a long time now, and I've like interviewed, like I've done over 150 interviews on my podcast with pretty much some of the best minds in the industry. and I've read lots of books on the topic. One thing that's really difficult is because you're working with something that visual, everyone has an opinion and thinks that they know more than you do. Um, it's difficult because it's not, I don't want to say that they don't, because everyone does, everyone's has the right to an opinion, but it makes it really difficult when um you've worked on a problem, you've solved it, you've spent weeks thinking about it, coming up with the best solution for a company. Um, and then you present it and it goes to like a committee. And even though they have absolutely no experience with design, they don't have any taste, they will give their opinion on what you've done, not considering any of the strategy or anything like that. And scenarios like that become very difficult because it goes from solving a problem and coming up with the best solution for that problem to I'm trying to design something that they will like. And I feel like that's when things start to not look as good or work as well or work as effectively. And you see that in the world a lot. You know, sometimes you see big companies, they release like an identity and you can tell that there's been too many people involved in it. Um, it is something that I have got better at. Like I have, because I've been doing it a long time now. Uh, I care less about what people think. So I'm more inclined to like put my foot down and explain in detail. Like I had a design rejected last week that I presented for this because of this same situation, and I ended up explaining to them that I can completely change the look and feel of it without losing the idea. And I
Mm,
had to explain to them that we can retain this exact same idea that works so well, but I can make it look completely different. And it's just hard because not everyone has not everyone can see it until you've done
mm,
it.
yeah.
Um, so yeah, I think that's probably the hardest thing is um just selling a design to somebody that um thinks that I don't know what the right way of saying this is. Because like everyone does have an opinion, but it's difficult because it's like I've spent most of my life studying design. I've like read every single book on it. I feel like I have enough like experience and credibility to say I know what I'm doing. Please
Yeah.
trust me. Because clients that my most successful customers are the ones that have trusted me and have like asked me why have you done it like that way and work with me to understand why I've done it the way that I have. Because I don't just throw something together for the sake of it. I will literally think about it for weeks on end. And I don't want to do rubbish work, so I will literally spend ages perfecting it. And I'm also the type of person that people can say that something's good, but if I don't believe it's good, then it's not good enough. But if I know it's good, I'm confident that it's going to do well. So it is difficult in those scenarios where I presented something and things get rejected just because a group of people that have no experience in design whatsoever has decided that they don't like it and it should be a different way. That's one of the frustrating things. And I think most designers find this. But yeah, I do my best. I work with them and we come to a final solution. But I there are times when it's like this could have been so much better if you just trusted the person that you hired to do the job.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people forget that it's not just about liking the logo yourself or being likable. It's also about working within the,
Yeah, I mean
design
at
world.
the end of the day, well it's not that. I mean at the end of the day it's not the owner that needs to like it. It's the target audience. Like we're designing for the target audience and um how that company should be perceived and not necessarily that person. And I find it really interesting and your audience wouldn't be aware of this, but there's a couple of scenarios with big companies. So like the Nike logo, which is one of the most famous designs in the world, that was designed by a student, and the owner of the company at the time kind of said that would do for now. Like he really didn't like it. He wasn't very impressed with it. He's like, "Oh, that would do," because he spent the money on it in the time. It's like, "Oh, that would do for now." That's literally the reaction that Caroline Davison, who did it, and she only got paid like $35 for it. It wasn't much money. They did eventually give her um an undisclosed amount of stock, which I believe was in the millions. Like they did give her a lot in the end. But she designed one of the most memorable logos ever and presented it, and the client's like, that will do. This it's not just me that has this problem. It's even the best designers in the world. And I
I guess
always try to remind myself this.
I think it's also a bit like with art. It's like something might be like really acclaimed art, but I, as somebody who doesn't understand art, I can't see it. So for me, it's like
Yeah,
I would never spend a fortune on this. Like
yeah,
what the heck
yeah.
is this?
I
But
mean,
like
that is subjective though. You're allowed to
yeah.
be subjective. It's if you're looking at a logo design as art, then you will give a subjective response. But if you're looking at it in a like a scientific, strategic, mathematical way,
Which
then
not a
there
lot of
is a
people
yes or
can
a
though.
no.
Which no, you also started writing a book when you
I
were
did.
here.
Oh my God. And I finished it a couple of years ago.
So anybody who's interested in logo design, what can they find in that book of yours?
Okay, it's called Make a Living Designer Logos. And what I've tried to do with this is it's not uh, necessarily a book about designing logos. It's a book about the journey of going from having the desire to design logos, and then uh, everything from my perspective that I did anyway to build a business. Because I'm at the position now where I'm getting contacted like by places like I've had Cambridge University get in touch twice for two projects. I've had Open University, I did a project with them last year. Like all these big organizations are now starting to get in touch. So but I'm self-taught. So anyone that's it doesn't have to be somebody that's interested in logo design even. It could be somebody that maybe has a desire to start a hobby and turn that hobby into a full-time business. Because I've shared everything from like there are obviously sections in there about what you need to know about design and processes and stuff like that. But there's a lot deeper that where I go where about building like a reputation and getting clients and working with clients and um managing projects and dealing with bad clients and good clients and all this sort of stuff. I've really shared the journey. It's a long book. It's like 320 pages, I think, from memory. And I've shared literally as much as I can. It took me a long time to write, maybe like 10 years in total. Not 10 years
Wow.
of like constant work, but it's literally a 10-year journey summarized into a book from the initial conversation of um maybe you should work on logo design, which actually came from your sister, to building an entire business where I'm known globally as a logo designer and I'm working with clients every day, and it's given me the freedom to um be there when my daughter's grown up. Like I haven't missed anything from my daughter's life. Like I've seen her first steps, her first words. I pick her up from school every day, well, half the week. Um, I'm there for her as much as I physically can be, and not everyone has that luxury. Not many people have that luxury of um uh, being there and seeing every aspect of their child's life, unless they're like a full-time mom or dad or whatever. But I'm able to work and also be there for my daughter. And if I wasn't doing this, if I didn't build up that life, I wouldn't have that. And I'd like to think that if somebody was to read it, it would be inspiration for them to build whatever their idea is. So even if you're not interested in logo design, it should still be an interesting read because I've tried to write it like a story, like a journey,
Mm.
and used real life examples. I'm somewhere that's been there, I've done it, and I've shared everything that worked for me, things that didn't, the ups and downs, and being as transparent as and honest and as genuine as I can be.
Talking of ups and downs, what was the hardest and at the same time the best part about writing an actual book?
The best part is was finishing it. um,
But did you
I
enjoy the process itself, the writing?
no.
No.
I think for so I think something that's really important when writing a book. So originally when I started it, I thought what I would do is I would write blogs. So write a monthly blog, and what I would do at the end of, once I wrote like 20 blogs, I would then stitch them together and this would be a book. But I realized that after a year, you have 12 blogs and a small book is 50,000 words. And you literally have to be writing every single day, like hundreds of words every single day to physically write a 50,000 words book. So what I started doing was I created like a routine, like every day I would write 200 words. That was always my goal. So I started I started the main writing when my daughter was a baby. So what I would do is it was always me that would put her to bed. So I would kind of, get her settled, feed her milk, put her into bed, take a while to get her to sleep. But once she kind of settled, I made this routine where I would walk from the bedroom into the office. I would sit down, and that was the first thing I did. I had to do that. I did my 200 words, and then once I'd done my 200 words, that was done. Didn't have to be good words, didn't have to make sense. It just had to be 200 of any words. And then eventually it all came to it all came together. Um, I started using post-it notes originally. Like there's a really good technique that I picked up from a guy called Pat Flynn, where you take post-it notes, you write down like you've got this idea in your head of what you want to do. You write down like a word or a chapter or a topic, and then on each post-it note, you do lots of post-it notes. Then you start grouping them together. Those groups then become the chapters. So I kind of had this framework to begin with, and then each day I was writing. I did like a sloppy version initially. So um, like the first draft was quite fun because I just wrote what was in my head. Like it didn't need to make sense. It was just I said what I wanted to say in however way I wanted to say it. And then I had my first draft and then I reworked it. And I'm not joking. There was times when I felt like crying because it's like I don't know how to make this sentence make sense. It just sounds terrible. And
I
like
know
near
that
the end,
feeling.
like near the end, when I was nearly finished with it, I kept feeling like I'm nearly done. I'll finish this tomorrow. I'm gonna sit down for a whole day tomorrow and I'll be finished with this book finally after 10 years. And then I'll sit down for an entire day. And I'm physically working all day long, like really hard on it. It's like I'm still not done. Like I'm so sick of doing this. I just want it to be finished. And just having to keep doing that. And it's horrible. Like you have to write it when you feel tired. And I felt tired almost every time I sat down to write it and just kept going. And I eventually got to a point where, like, I'm so sick of this thing. I just want to finish it and I'm going to finish it in the best way I can. No, I'm just going to finish it in whatever way it just
Not
needs to be
even
finished
best.
and done. Like, I just want it finished. But it's interesting because once you do that, then uh you get it to a state where it's finished and then you can just keep improving and iterating, and that's where it got to. Like I sent like I got a copy printed and I sent a copy to my sister and she read through it and gave some feedback, and I sent a copy to a friend of mine, Jason, who's a design lecturer in the States. He read through it as well. um their feedback, some of it was really terrible. So yeah, but just continually doing this, making those edits, it got better. But it's so much work. It's hard to describe. But yeah, to I don't know if I answered your question. It was like the entire thing was horrible until I finished it. And then it's nice when you get the printed copy and it's like I did it.
Talk about enjoying the process, not the
No,
destination.
no, no, the process is horrible. I think it's because I really wanted to do it. It's been a dream of mine forever to actually put that together. And I think that was the thing that kept me going, is that I really wanted to finish it. I really wanted to get out my system and um making it routine and just continually pushing forward is the only way I got to the end.
I think it's actually more like the rewriting is really daunting. Like that's the worst part for me anyway, because I myself, I
Mm,
really enjoy the writing process. But once it gets to rewriting, like even like the first rewrite, second rewrite is still fine because I feel I'm making it better. But then
mm.
after some time, I'm like, I don't even want to read it anymore because it makes me sick
Yeah,
reading
yeah.
it.
You've actually
Yeah.
just it's the polishing and the refining and doing it again and again and again and again and again is so hard because you get to points where it's like, have I said that before? I can't remember if I've already said that because I've thought about this and
Yeah.
read through this so many times. I can't remember if
Yeah.
I've already said that thing once already. And
Yeah.
it's where it becomes like I'm so sick of doing this. I don't want to do it anymore. I don't like it, but I've spent so much time in it already that I need to just keep going. I nearly gave up on it.
Me
I nearly like
too.
I've had enough.
Yeah.
I
And
did. I mean it was sat there on my desk, this pretty much 95% finished thing that I was
yeah.
sick of looking at.
But something I want to still ask you is, and my favorite question for all self-published authors who doesn't work with a professional editor is, when do you know you're done with the edits?
Um you are never finished. You just have to draw a line in the sand and just put it out there.
It's funny. One of our previous guests, Fiona Ferris, she actually said that she knows it's finished when she can't look at it anymore. When it makes her physically sick, she knows it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
I know you had an idea for a different book long time ago called
Hmm. Oh my
Galodian.
God. Oh dear.
That was a fantasy, I believe. A very
Yes.
good one. I read like your first chapter or something, or an idea, whatever it was. It was so good.
Yes.
So just my question is just like, do you ever plan to get back to that sort of thing? Especially after you just
Um,
described how much you hate writing.
like I've recently moved to a new area and I was looking for like creative groups to join because I'm a graphic designer and I kind of like finding the creative scene in any area and I haven't found a design scene, but here there's a really good writing scene, like a really great group of you kind of local misfits who like writing. I
Local
kind of fit
misfits.
in. Well, I fit in with them. And that's kind of got me thinking is like, oh, maybe I should do some writing for fun and not necessarily for business. Because I wrote my like the book that we've been speaking about primarily to build reputation. But it would be nice to do something just for fun. Will I get back to that? The idea is still stewing in my head, and it's changed a lot since those ideas that I spoke about a long time ago with you. So I might get back to it one day. Um, because I do I remember then I couldn't write it because I didn't feel like I had the life experience, but now I do. So I know I could write the book that I had in mind at the time, but if I do it, it's not going to be anytime soon, unfortunately. It might be like when I'm retired or something, but not anytime now, no. But the idea is still mulling around in there and at times. I still sometimes think about it.
Which means that it needs to get out at some point. because things we keep coming back to, there's a reason for it. So I can't wait.
Yeah, maybe. Ask me again in 20 years' time. I really don't think it's going to happen anytime soon.
All
Maybe I should
right.
include a cat.
Yeah, definitely. Make it a main character. Or the main character's like you know, best friend,
Yeah.
sidekick. If anybody wants to work with you, where can they find you or learn from you?
Okay, so I'm known as Logo Geek on the internet. So I've got a website, logogeek.uk, and there's a section on there for designers. I mean, anyone that's into logo design or creativity, and I write quite often, and I like to post on X quite frequently, sort of logo design news and information. And also, if you are a designer and it is exclusively for designers, I've got a Facebook group. And something else I also do is um, because a lot of what I do is community driven, and I don't have the resource or like the time and energy to build a like subscription based community. I have sort of made myself part of a community called More Creative Academy. Yeah, just if you want me, just look for Logo Geek and you will find me.
And you also have a podcast?
Yes, I have a podcast called Logo Geek. Everything is Logo Geek.
Spring Equinox brings the start of the astrological year. It's a clean slate where we are allowed to start fresh and all new. So, where in your life do you want to start fresh? Where are you ready to start over? With every new beginning, there is an opportunity for a new point of view too, for new ideas, new ways of thinking. Where in your life would you benefit from a new perspective or from a new idea? Have a think. Spring equinox used to be a very important time for our ancestors, as it was the start of the agricultural year and an important day for determining planting dates. So, as such, it is a perfect time to start some strategic planning in our lives as well. What and when do you need to do the things you need to do to achieve your goals? What are the steps you need to take at each phase? How are you going to nurture your seeds along the way to see them all through the harvest? Put it all down to paper with dates and the steps. Spring equinox marks the beginning of spring celebrations as well, which have been substituted by Christian Easter. In the Slavic tradition, though, the arrival of spring began with the arrival of the goddess Vesna, who ends the reign of the goddess Morena, the ruler of winter and death. Vesna, portrayed as a cheerful winged girl in a greenish dress with a wreath of spring flowers on her head, spreads her green wings over the landscape, and thus spring arrives. This is how she takes over from Morana, a beautiful young woman in a white dress studded with diamonds, often with a candle in her hand. On her head, as a symbol of power, she has a beautiful diamond crown, and all her jewelry is set with diamonds as well. In contrast to her pale face, she has dark black hair that reaches all down to the ground and bright blue eyes radiating coldness. So you can tell it's time to send Morana away. On that Sunday, this is exactly what is done. 2 weeks before Easter Sunday, Morena, in the form of a straw mannequin dressed in women's clothes with a necklace of blown eggs, would be carried away and either burned or thrown into the water. Thus, symbolically, winter is sent on its way. So this would be a time for that box of clutter you've been collecting throughout March to discard as well. Perhaps not exactly into the river, or you don't even need to burn it, but just let go of it in any way you find appropriate. And perhaps write down all else you're saying goodbye to, and then let it go. That Sunday, which falls on March 22nd this year, was also a time for magical spells against dark forces, as well as love spells. So what spells are you ready to cast this year, this season? What do you want to manifest in your life? A week after that Sunday comes the Bloom Sunday, also known as Palm Sunday in the Christian tradition. On that day, new clothes were worn and others were hung out so that people would blossom in them. In some places, they would wear their best clothes so that moths would not get into them. So perhaps treat yourself to wearing that beloved piece of clothing you've been saving for just special occasions. The special occasion may just have arrived. It was also forbidden to bake anything on this day, as it was believed that the tree blossoms and herbs would wither, and there would be no fruit in the coming year. So remember that Bloom Sunday is on March 29 this year, and you are not allowed to bake. It was also said that on Bloom Sunday, a magic willow wand had to be cut, which was a good match for a person who had found the eggs of a black hen with a white crest. It was said that the hen laid golden eggs, but clogged them with dirt. If someone found such an egg, they were supposed to bury it in straw and then take it before midnight and go to the crossroads where they would lay the eggs. If a person had the right willow wand with them, they would wave it to the south, north, east, and as soon as they did so, a spirit would appear and fulfill every wish. So if you do have hens and a black one with white crest, be on a lookout for an egg like that, because it might just make all your dreams come true. And that's it for today's episode. Before we meet again on the Good Friday, just at the start of the Easter celebrations, don't forget to check out Cat Coach Diaries on Substack for more cat wisdom at moniforce.substack.com, and tune to the official Cat Coach Cafe playlist on Spotify or my Spring Mornings instrumentals. Both links are in the show notes. If you would consider leaving a rating, a comment, or follow the Cat Coach Cafe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere else you tune in, we would be so very grateful, as that would allow us not only reach a wider audience, but also to continue doing what we do and bring you more podcast episodes in the future. Until then, stay cozy, stay warm, and cuddle those cats of yours.